Morning guys, thank you for joining us in this morning's Facebook Live, or afternoon, good evening, depending on whereabouts you guys are today. We're carrying on with the dinosaur theme in this morning's Facebook Live. So we're going to be making a Stegosaurus. I think it's a Stegosaurus. I don't have a very good knowledge of dinosaurs, so hopefully that's what it's called. We're going to do one like this anyway. So let's see how much paste I've got. When my scales go to 0. 107 grams, so maybe start with about 100 grams. I'm going to cut a little bit off to save to the side for some legs. I think that should be plenty for my legs, so that is 28 grams. So you could always put about 30 grams to one side, that's fine. Pop any bits you're not using in your bag so that they don't dry out. If this stuff feels like it's gone hard, guys, and you've had it in a bag, don't think you have to throw it away. You can just stick it in the microwave for just a few seconds, maybe like 5 seconds. And it should bring it back around and soften it a little bit for you. Just checking if I have got a crease that I can get rid of, what I'll do is I'll put that to the underneath, and I'm going to start by rolling the tail. So you see this one's going to be a bit smaller than that one. So I'm going to press it between my two hands. So when I'm rolling, I'm putting more pressure on one end than the other, and it'll start to give us like a bit of a teardrop kind of shape. Rather than having a really, really long tail, I think I'm going to keep it fairly short and stumpy, a little bit dumpy. So it looks a bit more baby-like. Okay. And then at the other end, I'm going to roll it a little bit first, not too much. And then what I'm going to do is pinch in around here. Can you guys see this? So this will become the head. So I think the Stegosaurus has, am I saying the right name? Is that what it's called? I think it has quite a small head. And they're cartoony anyway, so don't worry if it's not exactly as it should be. Yeah. I'm gonna just try and squeeze up sort of its back just a little bit so we get nice curve up here. I think I might actually do this one laying down so that it can be kind of cutely asleep, I reckon. Okay, so we've got our basic body shape. I'm going to just try and see if I can pull the neck a bit closer to the bottom of my body there. Now for the head, I want to try and make it a little bit pointier at the very end. I don't want to make it too long, so not too long and thin because it'll lose its cuteness. So like I say, we're not aiming for lifelike at all with these, keeping them very cutesy. Okay, I know it still looks odd, but it's fine. Let's use my modeling tool to kind of put a little bit of a line where I want the eyes to go. So I'm going to go back here and here, I think. So I'm going to press in a little bit. Can you guys see that there? There and there. You can press it with your fingers in to round it off a little bit more, or you can use a balling tool to sort of round off that area a little bit. Now, if you're going to have eyes open, we'll put in a white sugar pearl, which is what I've done on this one. I'm really tempted to do eyes closed though, because I think it's going to be cute. Ooh, decisions. Just going to check I've got the rest of the face, the shape I want first. So I'm going to press an eye socket in with the smaller end of my balling tool. Let's see if we can get it in a similar place on the other side. Usually I end up with it in a different place. Okay. Similar-ish, close enough. So I'm going to kind of put in a little line here. Like a little smile. Oh, it's a bit messy under there. Just gonna push it in a bit there. This one. This tool instead, my little rubber-ended tool. It's just slightly smaller than the balling tool. It makes the smile sort of have a little crease in the corner, and it usually makes the cheek look like it's coming out a bit more above that line, usually. I'm just going to put a little line across the top of its nose for like the little beaky bit. Again, it might not be called a beak. I'm not very technical at all with these kind of things. On our top bit of the mouth, and then we'll do the same on the bottom. I'm just going to put some little lines in. And we'll paint that up a different colour when we put dust on. I'm going to go just above this bit. There and there. I don't know if you can tell it's a nostril or not. I'm going to put a tiny bit of water in each of those eye sockets. Can you see I bent his head as well and gave him some creases in the neck? And then what I want to do is roll a ball that's just about the right size to fill the hole that we made. This one's much bigger. Yeah, that's going to be too big. And you can always make the eye hole bigger if you want as well, rather than making the ball smaller. But the advantage of it is that it gives you a while to work with it, so it doesn't dry and crack as quick on the surface as some of the other ones might do. So I'm just going to put a little arch. Oh, that's the postman delivering something, I think. On the eye to mark where I want, because I want him to look like his eyes are closed but kind of scrunched up, happy closed. So I'm going to put him like a little eyelash over there. Let's see if we can do it similar on the other side. So because it's very soft, I have to be really careful when I'm holding it, because I end up squashing the body while I'm keeping hold of it. And I always end up resting my finger on the face look when I'm working on it, which probably doesn't help. Get some little finger marks on there. I am going to, before I put all the facial features on, I'm just going to curl him to the shape that I want. I figured if he's kind of sleeping, then maybe he could be, should he be this way around? I'm trying to decide whether to curl him round, you know, like a dog or cat kind of sleeps, or whether to have him just with his feet forward. So we don't need a huge amount of paste. Like, it's usually less than you think we're going to need for these bits. I'm just going to have a quick gauge of size. Usually what I'll do when I'm trying to work out how much I need, I just roll a very rough ball and then a very, very rough leg shape. And then I put it against it to see if I think it looks all right size-wise. Could maybe be a tiny bit smaller than that. Not by much. So then let's see how much this weighs. So that one weighs 6 grams. So let's try and get another one that weighs 6 grams as well. So let's roll them now into balls where we're getting rid of the creases and cracks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a slight dip in the body where I want these legs to go. So kind of there and there, I think.
Down a bit.
What?
Thank you. That's it.
Okay, and before I stick them on, I'm also going to put some little wrinkles on the body, kind of near the tail and near where the legs are going to go. You can put some of these on afterwards as well, so don't worry if they're not all on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and flatten one end to be the bottom of the foot. So we're left with this kind of shape. Then I'll roll my finger across here. Now if you've got bigger fingers, you might find that it's difficult to get into small pieces, so use something like the handle off one of your tools to go over there like that if you prefer. Okay, the chunky bit at the bottom will become our foot, and then this big bit at the top will become sort of the hip area. I'm just going to push sort of a joint in there. Can you see how sticky it's getting where it's sticking to my fingers? If it does get sticky, just put some corn flour on your fingers or your work surface. Okay, I'm going to put some little creases there as well. And anywhere that I've got a little bend in the leg, just trying to think how would they lay with their legs if they're asleep. I'm going to tuck it up like that, I think, but we're just going to need some little toenails on. So I'm going to use.
You could do it how Bruce lies down when he's sleeping.
He stretches out really far. So can you see I'm just using, Bruce is our dog, by the way, the flat end of the wider end of my Dresden tool, and we're just pushing it in. It's like a little elephant foot. So a bit of water on the bit that's going to kind of come into contact with the body, and I'm going to press that on there quite firmly. I'm going to tuck his little leg under there. If you want any more wrinkles, again, just add them. Let's put some on his like little wrinkly knee area. And then we're going to need a little gap there and there for the front legs as well. Must have got a bit of white paste stuck in that one, look, when I put it in my bag. Yeah, when you're putting all your different colour paste together in a bag, like I sometimes do, you might find some of the colours stick to each other, so just watch out for that. Usually I just mix it in so that you wouldn't notice it. I'm just being lazy now by not mixing it in, sorry guys. Okay, so flattening that bottom bit again. For the flat, don't worry if it's not perfectly flat, it doesn't matter. So using your finger or the tool, and can you see I'm kind of rocking it around like that to get it thin a bit. Can you see how soft it is? So it was getting really soft for me yesterday, it was really warm, and of course when I was trying to stand it up it was just sinking. So I'm glad we've gone for like a sleepy one today. Oh look, they're a little bit unevenly spaced. Let's put it this side. I feel like maybe this one maybe should have been tucked underneath it. It's okay, it's gonna go on this way still. And of course you can always look up images of how animals sleep in different positions, which would probably help more than just making it up a little bit like what I am doing. Front legs I'm probably gonna go for slightly less, but not by much. Just because the back legs have like this big sort of hip area or thigh. I was aiming for about 5. I'm just gonna have his tail kind of touching the floor and curling around a little bit. I feel like it would have been nice if I put his head on his little arms or feet. I guess it's still feet on this one because all of them touch the ground, whereas on T-Rex is it arms that it would have?
It would, yeah. Remember, you have to make sure you've got the right number of digits.
I don't think this one has digits.
Well, no, it might have like 3 nails or 4 nails.
I don't know. This one's getting 3 nails.
There we go.
But yeah, it doesn't have like the little claw things like the T-Rex had. I didn't even talk through what I was doing then, did I? Sorry guys. It's much plainer in shape, this one. Just trying to get it a bit flatter at the bottom. Just put some kind of wrinkles in the middle. You can put wrinkles wherever you want, to be honest. I don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to bend it forwards a little bit. It's got not very nice nails, this one. And of course, you guys can spend much longer working on this than what I have done. I'm going to move his head out the way, and then I'm going to put this on and then decide where his head should go. And then let's put this little arm or leg on here where I press that little indentation. Does he look dead or does he look like he's sleeping? I'm hoping he looks more like he's sleeping than dead, but we'll see. Tops on him. So it's up to you what you want to use. I actually coloured them in afterwards. I was gonna press not indentations, I was gonna press little balls on, and I was like, no, I'm gonna do it this way and then I can colour them in. I don't want too many of the larger ones on, I don't think. And then I'll use different sized piping nozzles to put on other bits and pieces. I've got a couple on the head, maybe some smaller ones. Okay, so for my little spikes, last time I tried to roll my paste slightly thinner at one end, which would be like the top edge of them, and slightly thicker at the bottom. So if it's thicker at the bottom, there's a bigger surface area to stick it down with. And we'll see what it looks like. But last time I did some of them freehand, and then some of them I did with my picket fence cutter. I was just looking for like a quick and easy way to do the spikes. The only thing is I've rolled it so thick. Let's see. I think I've rolled it a little bit too thick on this one. And it's so soft, look. Oh, it's okay though. It just gave me the points sort of a little bit quicker and easier. Let's cut out a few more. I am going to have to do some by hand as well because there's kind of similar sizes when I use this, and I want some that are a little bit bigger. Although maybe the baby one should have all kind of smaller ones. So I'm pressing really firmly, otherwise it doesn't always cut through, especially when I've got thick paste like I have. Can you guys see how soft it is? Okay, I only need the end, and to make sure they're all kind of different sizes, if I want a smaller one, I'm going to cut quite near the end here, and if I want them bigger, I'll cut further down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch it together slightly at the bottom and squeeze it at the top. So the shape changes a little bit, so if you want to just do it freehand, you don't have to use this fence cutter. It just gave me a basic kind of starting point. But I want to try and press them similar sizes where they're going to be opposite each other on my dinosaur.
A few people have done your hair class. They said they're really liking it.
Oh, I'm really pleased. Oh, I'd like to see what you've all made actually. I forgot to tell you all that, didn't I? I think most of you guys that watch me every week know when I've got new tutorials and stuff out. But if you didn't know, We've just brought out a new online hair tutorial. It's slightly different to the Facebook ones we've been doing because it's on a site called Udemy. It's probably a bit soft, this still. Yeah, so you don't have to watch it via Facebook, the new one. But it's not live, so I filmed it, and because there was, I don't even know how many hours worth of footage, there was an awful lot of footage. So we kind of shortened the footage, so you just didn't have to watch when I did things wrong. And then I just explained what I'm doing. It's kind of over the top of each bit of video. Ooh, where should we start? These ones are probably my smaller ones. They're not exactly the same. But yeah, that's... In fact, I'll get Emily to put a link up for you guys, and then you can...
There's just been a little bit... I managed to get the little video clip into the bottom right-hand corner,
did
which
you?
people have just seen what they're wondering what that is.
Ah, yeah, so that's a tiny clip of some of the hairstyles. Now, I should really put these lines on both sides of my little spike bit. But because it's so soft. So what you'd ideally want to do is just give these a little bit of time to firm up before you stick them on. Because you can see how soft they are. So you might find that when I try to dust, some of these drop off. Whereas ideally we would want to give them long enough to set nice and firm. Don't want to put them too close together, otherwise I'll have to add more of them. I'll have to add lots. You'll probably put those extra lines in when it's in place. Am I out of shot? Is that what you're telling me?
No, you're right. If you move it a bit to your right. Yeah, that's it. That's great. Thank you. You're in. Yeah, because you're banging both cameras now.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if I put them on evenly, but yeah, they're very soft, so they're wanting to flop slightly more. You can, if you're really struggling, push like a tiny bit of wire into each one and then push it into your dinosaur. The only thing is then, if you are doing that, it's not as edible, because obviously you'd have to remove those little bits, which is, I mean, if no one's eating it, it is alright to do that, but you just need to make sure that people know. Like, a lot of my figures will have cocktail sticks and things in the legs to hold them up. But it's so important that you do tell people that they're there. So I would say the little spine bits or spiky bits or whatever we said they were called. I've forgotten again and my memory is terrible.
We did get the technical term.
Did you say there was something
Kerry
plates?
Googled for me because I'm lazy.
Oh, Richard, one job to do and you didn't do it.
I've got several jobs today. Although I cannot find the comment.
Okay, so this one that's been sat at the side for a while actually feels much firmer than those ones that I've just made. But I'm going to squash it again. That's why I did it a bit thicker, so I could squash it.
Well, this is a good question. I mean, I've never thought of this before. Mm-hmm. Could you use a hairdryer on a cool setting to try and cool things a bit quicker?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Yeah, as long as it's on the cool setting.
Oh, good idea.
I don't have one at work, but
Well,
yeah, you could do. Knowing me, I'd probably hit the wrong setting and melt it. So still going with these. This is the boring bit now, guys. But it is the bit that makes such a big difference to what it looks like. Like, you can tell more what kind of dinosaur it is when you add these bits. I was looking, they all look slightly different, so I don't know if they were all still Stegosaurus.
I think there's quite a few variants on the... I mean,
there?
I think people generally associate this with the Stegosaurus, but I think there's quite a few variants on the type.
Because some of them had, like, more evil-looking spikes than these bits. These ones were cuter. Oh, let's give him some spiky bits on the end of his tail.
Yeah, I think that's enough. I think that's good. I don't actually think you could get any more on those either.
Yeah, my plan was to put far fewer on the baby one so they would look cuter, but I forgot that. I just did whatever. But it is so soft that it's very difficult to use the paste at the moment. Like, I should really roll a piece and leave it to firm up. Because when I'm picking it up, it's just so soft, it's changing shape. And also sticking to me a lot. So it is corn flour that I'm covered in at the moment, guys. Just get the little spikes on the end of the tail. I'll have to show you a picture of Matthew's drawing because it was really good. I think it was Matthew, wasn't it?
I don't know.
It's one of Dawn's little boys. Oh, and Stephen drew one as well. I'm going to share that one as well. My brother Stephen drew one of my dinosaurs, but one that I'd already made. I'll show you all that online later. I'll put it in my stories
Round a bit,
later.
Jen. That's it.
I think his little spikes are different sizes and in different places, but that's okay. So now ideally you'd want to let it firm up, although we need to put his little eyelashes on. Oh, I forgot some black for my little eyelashes. Do you know where my pot of black is, please, Richard? I should have a pot of black Serratino somewhere. It's really sticky. You can just draw the little eyelashes on, but while Richard's looking for that, let's give it some pink on its cheeks. So we could just draw the eyelashes on with this, the black pen. I think I'm going to stick them on today. Thank you. In fact, I'm still going to put my blusher on first anyway. I'm going to use the claret. And I'm just going to put a tiny bit on to the cheeks. And the same on the other cheek. I don't know if you can see me doing it on the other cheek or not. Let's mix it up and put one of each on. This one's dusky pink. Oops, put a lot on there. Looks nice with a mix of the two.
I quite like the Stegosaurus behind it because you did the pink underneath it as well.
Yeah, I mean I can do some
Quite
on
nice
it, but
effect.
you're not going to see as much.
No.
Because it's laying down.
But it's quite good.
Also because it's very soft. Like that one I picked up a lot. So this one I made and I put sticks
You complete out camera there.
in its legs. So once it had dried, I could pull it out my polystyrene and trim off the skewers. I could pull the skewers out completely, like they would pull out easily. But if it gets warm again and there's no skewer in there, they risk kind of sinking. So that skewer, by staying in there, is going to offer it a little bit of support. But it's firm enough that I could pick it up and work on it now to colour bits in. Whereas this one's a little bit softer, so it's going to make it a bit harder for us. Just put a tiny bit of water across that line.
Would you, because a few people, I know in a few videos you've used polystyrene balls in your like bodies and bits, haven't you? Could you do the same with this one?
Yeah, you can do. I was too lazy to go upstairs and find a polystyrene ball. Yeah. And I thought I'd do one without as well, because I know that sometimes people will sort of say, well, it's got polystyrene in, I can't eat it. So at least this way you know you can do it with and without polystyrene in the middle. I'm just going to clean some of that pink off the eye. So I'm going to try and lay it over there first, and then when it's over there, can you see it, Richard?
Yeah.
Then we bend it a little bit to follow that line. Does it follow the line? I think it does. So the brush is just slightly damp to help me pick it up.
That's better angle. That's good. It's probably harder for you.
Yeah, I can't see. You're going to see my head in a minute getting in shot, I think, because there we go. So I've arched it and it's kind of gone into that mark that we put in earlier. Does it look more like it's got his eyes closed now?
Yeah.
Does it look dead or asleep?
It looks dead. It's got colour in its cheeks. It can't be dead.
So the other one had pink on its underbelly. Now you can rub it all the way underneath, but because this one is lying down and it's always going to be on its belly, you're never going to see this bit, so I'll just try and catch the edges. I am trying to hold it fairly gently. I'm actually going to put some on the back of the legs a little bit as well. This one's harder to get it on the back of the leg because it's got a little curled up leg. And also on the underside of the tail. Now this is where I have to be careful because I put quite a bit of water on that tail.
That looks good already.
Whereas I need a dry brush where I can just kind of dust off all the extra. Can you see where I can't get into that bit?
Yeah. The pink works well with the blue there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And even like the pale,
brush.
they're really like more like lilac, aren't they? The spikes, but they look good. Good colour.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be lilac, but it's
Well,
fine.
no, but it's
I should know that when you mix blue and pink together, I was going to get a lilac-y colour, so.
But no, it does work. Always comes together, Zoe.
I mean, the pink is more obvious on this one than the other one because it's a paler blue that I've used. I've probably gone a bit too high up there with the pink as well. Let's do it on this side. And of course you can spend much longer dusting than what I am doing. I realise that I always end up doing it in a bit of a rush and it's sometimes a little bit untidy. Well, it is very untidy, isn't it? But it still looks alright when I've finished, I think. I mean, it could look better, but like I say, you can spend much longer on it than I have done. Maybe some on the underside of the face.
Right.
This is where I can't really get in. It's still soft actually, so I probably could move the leg out of the way to put this under here. probably just going to blend into the blusher on its cheeks. I can feel me knocking these bits, so I'm going to have to be really careful. So again, the bigger brushes, they don't always get into all the cracks and creases, so you might have to go in there with a smaller brush. Let's cut his leg a bit there. Just do some on this side. Okay, then what I did was I went over the edges with a slightly darker blue, and I'm going to use another flat brush. This one's quite dark blue, so I don't want too much on my brush. Like on the other one, it was dark blue dinosaur anyway. So when I added a tiny bit of powder to it, it wasn't that obvious.
So what dark blue is it using now?
This one is the petrol blue.
Petrol blue.
Yeah, so I'm just going to try and catch
Who's
it.
that one by?
This one's a rainbow dust one.
Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes, like, I mean, I like both the rainbow dust and the fractal. Sometimes, like, if I've already got colours open in one brand, though, I won't open the same colours in the other brand, just because I might as well use the ones that I've already got open. So don't feel you have to use kind of the same brand. I'm just trying to get some of this in the creases and also on the kind of the fronts of my legs, maybe a little bit up near the top of the body. Just a little bit, not too much. So can you see it's starting to look slightly less pastel-y in colour now. So I take it out of the pot, always on the kitchen roll to take some of that colour off. Again, it's probably not going to go neatly on the top because of the water that I've put on for those spikes. So when you're dusting, try and let any water on your body dry off first. Otherwise, it's going to smear through any of those wet areas. Put a tiny bit on the top of the head, just to darken it up here. See all my fingerprints and the little spikes because of how soft it is.
I think you look brilliant.
So I actually used the pink pen on the other one as well, but because it's dark blue, it looks purple on the other one, but it's actually my pink pen. It probably will still look a bit purple on this one because when you're not drawing on white, it does change the colour a little bit. So I'm going to try and go around the outside edge of my big circles.
Sorry, babe, we can't really see much on this one.
Can you not see what I'm doing?
Actually, this one's a bit better.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, that's okay.
So trying to go around the outside edge. Then where was my nice little brush? Put a little bit of water on my brush. I want to kind of drag. You guys have seen me doing this before with the pens, just so that it gradually fades in. So rather than having the circle all one solid colour, it gets a little bit lighter as it comes towards the middle and darker around the outside edge. My small little dots, I'm just going to colour in solid. They're too small for me to try and shade. Can you see I don't have a steady hand at all? You can see my hand shaking away. I probably won't make you watch me do all the dots. So you can see just a bit of water in there. I think, does it show on the camera that it's kind of shaped different shades? Just do this one more here and then you can see. So try and catch around the edge. Now these do have nice fine points, these pens, but if you press really hard with them, it does ruin the ends, so just be careful. They're just like using a felt pen, these ones. So I'm going to use the little one again, my little flat brush. I like this one. And we're going to start with so this is the claret pink first, going on. You alright, Richard?
Yep, sorry about that.
And if you don't want to use the dust, so you want to use the powders but you want to wet them and mix them with like clear alcohol or like lemon essence or something to paint with, you can do that if you prefer. Like, you don't have to use them dry. The only thing is, can you see I get it everywhere and then I have to go over with like a cleanish dry brush to rub off all the kind of extra bits that I've dropped on everything when I've had a lot on my brush. Okay, so we want a tiny bit of black now. I've got a very tiny bit in the lid already, so we might as well use that. I really am having to be gentle with it as well when I'm picking it up because I haven't given it time to set. I'm going to try and get the black more around the top, and then we'll gently pull it down into the pink. Try and get a tiny bit in the little crease in the mouth there where it would be shaded.
Just want to bring it a bit close to you.
Closer to me?
Yeah.
Like here?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
A little bit under there.
Yes, that's darkened it a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah. Maybe I should do some darker bits on its toenails. Oh, what colour toenails should it have though? I feel like that would be better with the pens. I didn't actually worry about the toenails on the other one. Oh, maybe it could have darker blue in the pen. Let's see. You can dust it, but I just thought the pen would give me like that exact outline. I mean, it's not much darker, is it, that? So you don't see it like a huge amount. Does it show up on the camera?
You can just about see it.
I can't get into every toenail because some of them are kind of tucked underneath. I just thought then they're not the exact same colour as the rest of the body. And just because it's soft, I'm not going to do any more on it, on the toenails, because I'm struggling a bit when I'm picking it up. And then the other thing that I did on that one, and it might not work because, like I say, they are pretty firm. They're not fully solid, but they're fairly firm compared to the one that I've made today. I'm just going to put my lids on because I knock them over. Also, you guys can see what they are then if I put the lids on.
I can from top down.
You what, sorry?
Can do from top down.
Oh, wait, sorry, I didn't realise you went. Okay, I've got dust on everything. What I tried to do was rub a little bit of pen along the top. Again, that one has got pink on. It looks a different colour. Can you see it's a bit soft at the moment, so it's moving around. So if you let that dry, it's going to be so much easier. And then I'm just going to put the odd little line coming down. Try to make some a bit longer than others. Okay, you can leave it like that, or you can catch it with water or even clear alcohol. So what I did on the other one was put a tiny bit of water on my brush, and then I tried to drag the colour from the top edge over slightly so it looked like it was slightly more shaded and coming down in colour gradually. And I think it looks quite nice just with the lines quite prominent as well. You're laughing again, Richard.
Yeah, it looks really good. So how are you dragging down that colour again, just to recap?
This is just water on my brush.
So you use your pens, creating the line, then using a little bit of water on the brush to just to
yeah, so like this goes on here, on the edge. Oh, can you see it moving around a lot though? So don't forget, don't do it immediately like I am doing. Try and give it a little bit of time to firm up. If you like it like that, you don't have to drag the colour down. See, I'm thinking I shouldn't have bothered dragging down the colour. I like it quite on its own, but obviously because I've done it on one, the others really should match. I could just pull that off and stick another one on, couldn't I? And you will need to repeat the same thing on the other side of each spike as well. I know I'm still not using the technical term for it, am I? You guys can tell in the Facebook Lives, for ease, I tend to go for products that I've used before so that it's a bit easier for me in the videos. And mainly because I just don't have much practice time in advance, but I do need to start making some time. I mean, the hair tutorial's out the way now, so I was going to say it's freed up a bit of time, but actually I'm still working on the book. So once the book is finished, I will definitely have more free time to start working on more new things. Also need to decide what our next online tutorial is going to be as well, don't we? I'm just going to do this one and leave it just on one side, but obviously you guys should do all of them and on both sides of each one of these. Maybe it could have had pink toenails actually.
I've got the
You got the what?
building going on again.
Yep, almost done. Well, I'm not almost done, but almost done for what I feel like should be alright for you guys to see. Hopefully nobody's upset that I don't always fully finish them in the video. Can you see them? Yeah. Obviously this one needs finishing, but...
A little bit close to the camera.
Does he look dead?
No, he does not look dead.
The mum looks a bit happy if he is dead. A bit too happy.